When it came to fall instruction, I felt compelled to make the decision that I made, led by one major fact: the health and safety of the community. In fact, I used this phrase in my introduction to Rutgers back in January. I referred to a university as a beloved community. Some may find that a bit precious, but I absolutely don't, not at all. A community is a complex organism, and if it's really healthy and working well, the different aspects of that community, of that family, are helping one another. They're informing one another. They know who is doing what, and they're taking care to make sure these various tasks are being taken care of. Universities are not set up to socially isolate people. They are designed to bring people together in close proximity. And when we think about housing on the New Brunswick campus just alone, we know that we can only house a small portion of the population we normally would house. Right there, it made it almost impossible to say we're going to be in live for all of our instruction. So we need to find ways to help our faculty be prepared for, as much as possible, a single type of instruction. I know as a professor, trying to manage 3 different ways to run a class is almost an impossible task. So we're trying to be mindful of the pedagogical practice of the university. We're trying to be mindful of the health and safety of the students. And we're absolutely trying to be mindful of the health and safety of the staff and the faculty. Everybody is part of this community. All of these people together are necessary if Rutgers is going to be smoothly operating and efficient and successful. But I think institutions too often don't recognize their own complexity, don't recognize all the different people in their family that are key to making it successful. I know that this decision is a disappointment to many people. It's a disappointment to me. I mean, I didn't take the job to sit in my living room by myself to talk through video monitors to people. I took the job to be out on campus walking around and meeting people, learning from them and watching them perform and watching them act and discover and learn. This is a tremendous disappointment to everybody. There's no getting around that fact. But I really believe that if we aren't mindful of the health and safety issues in this moment, and the fact is we know what to do to mitigate the risks to the system, if we aren't mindful of this right now, it'll be so much more difficult to come back. It'll take that much longer. So this is about taking a painful dose of medication, metaphorically speaking, right now, so that we can get back up to speed 100% as fast as possible. That's the ambition. And I'm with you with the disappointment. Believe me, this is not by any stretch in my imagination what I would have liked to do as one of my first decisions as your president. And there are going to be times when I have to do things that I personally don't like. I may believe that is actually the right thing for Rutgers, even though I might cringe about it. That's just my job. The way I view my approach to those decisions is to rely on my core beliefs. And more than anything else, I believe that I'm not going to require other people to make difficult decisions that I'm not willing to make myself. I believe in leading by example. I believe in managing a team with great integrity. I believe in being completely honest with people. I believe in being unvarnished, but not cruelly unvarnished. You need to be sympathetic, of course, to the situation. But I believe in being direct. I think people just prosper in clarity. When I began to map my transition out for assuming the presidency, I had 2 trips planned in April and 2 trips planned in May, altogether about 3 weeks worth of visits. Well, that all went up in smoke. There was no way for that to happen. One of the greatest disappointments of that rescheduling is that I was planning at every chancellor-led unit, each campus, to meet with students. I mean, I love meeting with students. They are so interesting and challenging and exciting and earnest and frustrating and teachable and all of those things together. This is what excited me about being a teacher in the first place at a university. So this has been a challenge for me. I've not really interacted with students in my transition, but I made it clear that I wanted them on my calendar as fast as possible. I wanted to meet all different combinations of students, because it's not just a Rutgers student comes in with one way of being a Rutgers student. Different groups of particular interests, like I want to meet them, and I want them to know that when we're on the other side of this moment, that they can expect me to be available to them. So when I was in transition, getting ready to take on this awesome responsibility, I was spending a lot of time trying to understand how Rutgers was navigating these challenges, especially with COVID and how that was exposing the financial frailty of many different people and financial insecurity. It struck me then that there needed to be something, that I needed to do something to contribute to solving the problem in very immediate and material ways, not just through my leadership, but through something more personal, I suppose you'd say. And so I was talking with the people managing my transition, like, what can I do? What thing exists that is designed to help students in need, that is designed to maybe bridge someone's financial situation so they can attend Rutgers? There's got to be some program. What is it? And they all said, the Scarlet Promise grants is where you need to focus your energy. So for me, it was important that I signal at a personal level my literal investment in Rutgers. And so that's where the idea for the $75,000 donation came to mind. And then, I also function as the head of the community. And so I have discretionary funds at my availability. And this seems like a strategic way, not just a nice way, but a strategic way to make it clear how we're going to signal our priorities. We want to make sure that Rutgers students have the opportunity just to be students. That is, not hungry students, not students trying to figure out if they can afford to buy a book or eat a meal or tend to some family emergency. I want them to be students. And this is a great way to facilitate that. And that's the idea behind the fundraising campaign as well. Let's make a big, major statement in this moment of crisis for people about how we care about them as individuals, we care about their place structurally in society, and we want to facilitate their success. That's what this is about. For me, my first couple months then are about listening and observing and watching how Rutgers already conducts itself. How does it address emergencies? How does it address these really complex social problems that are bedeviling society? And as I look and learn and process, then I'll be in the place where I can start offering my insights, my suggestions. I mean, there's going to be changes, of course there are, and changes that are informed by my own lived experiences, my professional 30 years in higher education, but also changes that are informed by listening to different aspects of Rutgers community and saying, that idea over there that people haven't been listening to for whatever reason, I hear it and I see it, and I want to incorporate it into our strategy of how to move forward. So it's no surprise that the presidency I thought I was walking into has changed. And at first I was a bit sad about that for purely selfish reasons. And then I realized what a marvelous opportunity we have right now. We have an opportunity to really understand how we can best rise to challenges. In all of this enormously disappointing setback, there's a life lesson for every one of us. In every moment of disappointing challenge, you have an option. You can choose to be mired in your anger and your frustration and your disappointment, or you could commit yourself to finding an opportunity in that moment. And again, I'm disappointed, but I'm absolutely committed to finding the opportunities in this moment to learn how to do things better through remote education, to learn how to make sure the university is set up in the best possible way for when it returns to 100%, to discover at a somewhat different pace what makes Rutgers special. I know most of it is what is found in the people. By extension, I'm operating under the great faith that Rutgers as an entity, as a community, is one that is powerfully resilient, that is able to take a challenge and turn it into an opportunity. That's an exciting place for me to join. That's an exciting community for me to find a way to help guide and be guided by, to be honest. So one of the things I've loved about the transition is discovering how Rutgers navigates a difficult situation, and I've really been impressed.